This is Justin Case of American Newscape, joining our friend and favorite author, Janice Lynn. She has become a Wall Street Journal and USA Today bestselling author. Janice joins us to introduce her latest book, Wrapped Up in Christmas Hope. Hello, Janice. Welcome back to American Newscape.
Hi, Justin. Thank you for having me back to talk about my new book.
Well, we're excited. We're excited to have you back, and we've been looking forward to this interview as long as we've known about this new book. So, that being said, let's kick this off. Can you share a quick update on how Wrapped Up in Christmas Joy is doing in the excitement for the release of Wrapped Up in Christmas Hope?
Hi. So my release from last year is, it's doing well. It did well last year. Christmas books kind of die down after Christmas until they're starting back up like September and then through the end of this Christmas. So hopefully it'll continue to do well this season too. So it's being released in mass market, and so last year it came out in trade. This year it's going to come out in mass market. So that's kind of fun too. I don't know the exact date on that yet, but
Well,
mm,
Amazon is saying that it will be shipped on October 26th.
yep, and that is the trade version of Wrapped Up in Christmas Hope. So
Oh, okay. And we're excited about that
yeah.
because, as I told you prior to the interview, I'm already making a list of who I want to send this to because I was a small hero last year for sending out Wrapped Up in Christmas Joy to a few of our friends and people that we interview regularly. So this book is going to be a simple, easy Amazon send it to them Christmas gift that we're going to get
That
right
that is
after.
awesome. That is awesome. Mm.
Uh, well, and what I've started into the publisher's copy of the book, and it has
Mhm.
the same warmth and character development as the first book. And as I said
Mhm.
before, I'm not a real fiction fan, but I really like the escape of these books because the characters are
Mhm.
well developed.
Thank you.
And and the fact that it's a series, it almost makes me want to refer back to last year's book. But
Right?
I'm muddling through and chuckling and enjoying and relating to lots of aspects of the book.
Yes, it's very easy to want to relay back to the book because Andrew, who is the hero of this new book, was actually introduced last year's in that book. He was one of Wrapped Up in Christmas Joy. The hero in that book's name was Cole, and Cole had two really close friends. One of them was Andrew, and one was Ben. And so this is Andrew's story, and he was just such a fun character. I got a lot of really neat feedback from readers, and wanting to know actually two characters. One was Andrew and one was Isabel, that they were like, oh, we want to know what's going to happen with them and stuff. So that was kind of fun to get to write Andrew's story. I really had a lot of fun kind of poking at him because he's a self-confirmed bachelor. He's never going to marry. He has his reasons for that, and so it's kind of fun punching holes in those reasons. Mm,
And he related to the term eye candy.
yes, he did. He did. So.
Well,
Mm,
the warmth of it, and there's a beauty of your writing. Not only is it beautifully written, but it's appropriate. It's appropriate for
thank
young girls, young men,
you.
teenage girls, teenage boys, and we can also give copies to our grandparents because I think
Mhm.
everybody can relate to
Mhm.
all these characters.
Mhm. There really is a wide spectrum. It sort of surprised me how much feedback I got from male readers on these books and stuff. And I even got some feedback from wives who had told me that they had given a copy of their book to their husbands to read, that maybe they were ex-military vet or, or veterans and stuff on it. And so and I should say former military rather than ex-military, but to where they really related to some of the characters and some of the things that they had gone through in the books. So that's been really a very fun, unexpected, pleasant surprise from the stories.
Well, the fiction that I've loved in my past, which is you can count on your hand, but it's because the English language can be art when it's mastered.
Mhm.
And I don't want to give you a big head, but your writing prose and your style is remarkable, and it keeps me going. You know, everybody,
Good. I'm glad.
I've gotten through the first 100 pages,
Mhm.
which I didn't have time to
Mhm.
do, and I'm looking forward to getting back to the book after the interview. Most of these interviews we do on
Awesome.
books, I really don't have any interest in reading them or staying with them. And now I won't use the word
Mhm.
trilogy because you're already talking about the next book in this
I
series.
am. I really am hoping to give Isabel her story. I have it in my head completely on how I want to give her her happily ever after, and I'm hoping Hallmark gives me the chance to do that. So we'll see.
Well, maybe she'll meet somebody named
Mm.
Justin. Maybe Justin will fly
You
into
know,
town. You never
yeah,
know.
yeah,
You,
maybe so. He can come in and interview her about her quilt shop.
there you go. And that's, speaking of quilts, another, passion that you have and something we've done an interview on the past are these quilts that are made for servicemen.
Absolutely.
And you brought,
Absolutely. So Quilt of Valor is definitely something that is very, very, very close to my heart. I absolutely love everyone there. Their whole mission is to wrap military in quilts of healing, and so to be able to incorporate that into my books and to wrap these heroes or the different characters in the story. In these quilts, and then to bring awareness of their organization and just very lightly on some of the post-traumatic stress disorder that some of our military face after serving. I think it's very easy for people outside of that circle to not really realize some of the after effects that are gone through. Mhm.
well, and the resource and the beauty of this program, whoever developed it, and to me, it's wrapped up in love. It's
Mhm.
admiration and respect and
Absolutely.
love for these veterans that, no
Mhm.
matter what condition they came back in or no matter how they served, just the idea that they
Mhm.
served is really
Yeah.
touching.
Yeah, it was actually started in 2003 by a lady named Catherine Roberts, whose son was serving in Iraq, and she had a dream, and in that dream there was a soldier who was just really just kind of down, and then in like she saw him wrapped in a quilt, and and kind of the demeanor changed, and when she woke up she just was so moved by that dream that's actually what started Quilts of Valor. It started with a group of women getting together to make quilts for veterans at Walter Reed Hospital, and it just really grew. They became formally Quilts of Valor to kind of protect what their mission was, so that that it stayed true to what they really wanted to do. So
Well, in your writing style, you brought that back to us again, and that's a wonderful,
good. Thank you.
wonderful reminder,
Mhm.
particularly with Christmas coming up. And if I
Mhm.
didn't, I'm not paid for this endorsement, but I really recommend people the cost of this book and the idea that Amazon can ship it and you can put a card in that book and a note to the person
Mhm.
that you love. I promise you, nobody that
Mhm.
you send this to will be offended by it.
Oh. I definitely gave it out as some gifts last year. That's a
Well, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, and I don't know if my name's on your Christmas list yet, but I would love another
No,
copy.
no, another copy. I could totally arrange that.
No,
So,
no, it is a wonderful book. Give us a bit more of where the book is set. This
okay.
beautiful
Mhm.
rural American Christmas town. Of course, it's the same
Mhm.
town as the last book, but
Mhm.
if you
Yeah.
haven't read Volume 1, Volume 2, don't be afraid to buy Volume 3 and pick it up. Don't be afraid to buy all three of them this Christmas season. So give us a little background, Janice.
So like you mentioned, it is a standalone book. So if somebody has not read the first or the second book, it's okay. They would not feel lost at all, because I've tried to make sure that the second book and the third book that it was completely a standalone story. It is set in Pine Hill, Kentucky, which is where the first two books are. There are some of the same characters. As I say, Andrew was introduced in the second book, and this is his story. He is a firefighter, and his dream is to be a smoke jumper. And so he really likes to live life on the edge. And as I mentioned, he's a confirmed bachelor. Because of liking to live life on the edge, he doesn't feel like that's fair to somebody when he knows that his ultimate goal is to go into a career that is so dangerous, like what our wildland firefighters do. It is a very, when I was researching this, and it's very lightly touched on in my book, but when I was researching it, it just really amazed me. What these guys do. And it's one of those things when you're outside that circle that you don't necessarily think a lot about, that there's these guys who parachute in to where there's these wildfires just raging, whether it's California or wherever. And it's just, it's pretty scary to me. That's not what my personality is. I don't want to go parachuting out of a plane, first off, and I sure don't want to parachute into an area where everything is on fire. So that is his personality. He wants to give. He wants to help protect people, and not just people as a firefighter, but to protect whole towns and to try to save structures and those type of things. So I introduced a new character who is Morgan. She is a nurse who works at an assisted living. She is one of the characters that's been in all three books, granddaughter, and Grammy Claudia is what she calls her, and she's one of the butterflies, and which is a group of older women in the stories. And so Morgan's history is that she was married to a gentleman that she had met in college who was a bit of a daredevil, and he actually got killed while mountain climbing. So she is very anti anything that is dangerous. And so Andrew kind of has his work cut out for him without even realizing that's what he's doing. He has his work cut out for him to convince her that they should even be friends. So, because she's like, this guy.
What it's hard to imagine women ever have that response to meeting men, but it's developed very, very well. So it's just another interesting aspect of it, and you pay tribute to those firefighters. And
I really tried. I reached out to the Wildland Firefighter Fund and talked to a gentleman there who does, I think, a lot of stuff. He's a volunteer, kind of on their publicity end, and because I wanted to stay true to kind of what they do, and but just touch on it very lightly. And Wildland Firefighter Fund is an amazing group. They help to take care of the families of firefighters who have lost their lives, and they have I don't want to call it necessarily a museum, but it's a tribute where they have photos and kind of the history of the wildland firefighters who have died while fighting wildland fires. And so I just think they're a very cool organization too. So.
well, and all first responders, if we think about these even the
Absolutely.
firefighters that go into a burning building to rescue people,
Mm-hmm.
the police
Absolutely.
that face gunfire to
Mm-hmm.
rescue people.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yep.
just we can't pay enough tribute to them as I stutter.
Right.
I don't want
Yep.
to well up with
I
it, but
totally agree. Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
so okay. Well, back to the book, and the community once
Mm-hmm.
again
Yep.
is.
Pine Hill, Kentucky is the community. So, and there's Andrew is a firefighter, which is different. My other two heroes were both former military, and so that part is a little bit different. I say his best friend is military, but they are volunteering at a Quilts of Valor sew-in, and so a Quilts of Valor sew-in is actually something that really does happen. And kind of what inspired the story to some degree is on one of my Quilts of Valor loops, I saw all these pictures of this Quilts of Valor sew-in, and there was this big group of firefighters that were there sewing, and I thought, oh, I totally want to use that in a book someday. And that was while I was researching the second book, but it really didn't fit that story, but I knew I could make it fit Andrew's story. And so it was just a fun way to pull in the Quilts of Valor and still have that going through the book.
When you talk about those butterflies and those quilts of valor volunteers, think of the love that and the energy that they must bring to a gathering with
Right.
purpose,
Yes.
with
Absolutely.
with a
Mm-hmm.
remarkable purpose. Now, you've been involved with the giving of these quilts in the past, haven't you, Janice? Or am I?
I have, yes, yes. So I have made myself and presented 3 quilts. I have several more started, and then I've worked with a church group that I went and I talked to them, and I handed out blocks and or the pieces to put a block together, and then the ladies brought it home. They put their blocks together, and we met again a couple weeks later, and we put all of our blocks together to make a quilt, and that was a lot of fun. And then I quilted it after we got the top put together and everything, and then I quilted that, and that was actually presented to a 97-year-old veteran, and so it was just a very cool presentation just because of who he was. He had been captured, and so had spent 6 months in captivity. It just a very, very cool gentleman. So
Well, as they all were. So I assume he was a World War II vet. But
he was, yes.
the well, you said you had a lot of fun. How much laughter goes on in those big quilting circles?
Lots of laughter. As long as everything is going smoothly while I'm sewing, and otherwise I'm like, ah, I have to pull this stitch out or the seam out, and that does happen with me a lot. So, mm,
Well, it's the love you put into those quilts that matters, not that all the seams are perfect. But
yeah, that is
Janice,
true.
I could talk to
Mm.
you all day, and I know our audience will love listening to what you have to say, but I don't want to take up too much of your time. What would you like to leave us with, and what would you encourage us to pay attention to when we're reading the book?
Um, Well, as always, I love my butterflies. I just have so much fun with those ladies. They make me laugh out loud even when I'm writing it. Sometimes I'm like, oh, if somebody was watching me write this scene, they would think I'm crazy because I'm sitting here laughing while I'm writing this. Um, and I get to have a lot of fun with them. So definitely, I would say kind of pay attention to what they're doing as always. And Rosie kind of plays a big part through this book, and she kind of has some fun scenes herself, and they all do. And that would probably be it. I hope everyone will read the book and enjoy it, and uh, I look forward to hearing from readers.
Now, do you voice the audio book?
No, no,
Okay,
I don't.
okay, okay.
My southern slang, people might not be able to understand me. That's Actually, this year I have not heard the audiobook yet. I do know that it is available for reviewers on something called NetGalley, because I've had a couple of reviewers to get back to me and tell me how much fun it was to listen to, but I have not heard it yet. So
Oh,
hopefully it really is that it's fun to listen to.
well, I'm sure.
It is available in audiobook and in print, so and pretty much available anywhere: Walmart, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, pretty much any place you would buy a book.
Because it is a Hallmark book, and
Mm-hmm.
this book will probably become a Hallmark Christmas movie. We just have
I
to be
hope
patient.
so. We'll
We just
see.
have to be
I hope
patient.
so. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I would remind everybody. Now, did I say perfect Christmas gift? Perfect Christmas gift for a grandchild to give to a grandparent. Or did I say perfect Christmas gift for a grandparent to give to a
Mm-hmm.
grandchild? Perfect Christmas gift for a
Either way.
grandparent to give to a child to read to a grandchild. So
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yep.
enough. That's enough of my soapbox, which I am famous for. So, Janice,
Mm.
thank you for
Thank
this.
you very much for having me back. I appreciate it.
Well, our fans do love you,
Mm.
and I hope you
Thank
feel
you.
the love when they reach out to you.
Thank you.
So,
That is awesome.
uh,
Anytime.
okay, thanks for joining us. Remember, additional
Thank
information
you.
and links are provided in this video's read more, including how to buy the book. Please be sure to subscribe to this channel to stay connected, and please connect with Janice and to make the time to read her book, Wrapped Up in Christmas Hope, and pick up a copy of Wrapped Up in Christmas Joy as well. And always remember to stand back. We are not sure how big this channel is going to get.